Hi guys, and welcome to our channel, Marshy and Diggs. Today there is no digs because I am speaking on the subject of singleness. Singleness, ladies, singleness. Being in the church it's a tricky one. So today I want to share with you my story of being single. I was single for 8 years and I came out of a very toxic relationship. For me, it was not physical, it was more, sort of like a mentally abusive relationship. It does a lot of damage to you. And I think the problem with some women is they come out of a damaged relationship and they jump back into another relationship, which can be really, really self-harming. So, in that 8 years, it was a time of sort of restoration, a time of healing for me. So I had the long-term relationship, the kids, the house, the car, the job. I had everything, but I did not feel happy. I wasn't happy through a lot of it. I knew that there was something that I needed. Let's rewind back to when I was 18. God called me for his purpose a long time ago. We're in my teens, and like the story of Jonah. So if you imagine Jonah, he was told by God to go to a city and he didn't. He went his own way. And because of this, he had to encounter situations that he needed God to take him out of. He was swallowed by a whale and he had to, endure that pain until God was ready for him. So that's kind of like what happened to me. And the 8 years of being single was kind of like me in the wilderness for a certain amount of time, and it was like being in the wilderness in a whale's stomach, and what happened was God stripped me of everything because I didn't go in the way that he wanted me to go. So he stripped me of the car, the house, took everything away from me so that I could concentrate on him and on like my spiritual life. And it was difficult. It was very, very difficult, but that's another story for when I share my actual testimony with you. Stay tuned for that. In that 8 years, I went through, all sorts of emotion. Number one, I don't need a man. Like when you've got your own place, because eventually I'd got my own place, and I'm like, I can change a light bulb, I can move my own furniture, I can pay my own way. That was my attitude. I thought, I don't need a man, I can do this. Strong, independent woman. So I went through a lot of the time of being single thinking I didn't need a man. Then you get to the second stage. I'm not saying that it always goes in this order, but I kind of went from I don't need a man to maybe I do need a man. All your friends are getting married, or you can see the proposals, and you're just like, okay, I remember seeing one of my friends' proposals and thinking, oh, I would love that actually. I'd really love that. Inside, I kind of knew I weren't ready, and I needed to, I still needed to be healed. It's like I was so happy for my friends, really happy for them because I know they were going through a season of singleness. But deep down, I'm thinking, what about me? What about me? I want to be loved. I want to, you know, experience what it feels like to be looked after, to be taken out, to be wined and dined, and you know, and be bought gifts for. And I want to feel the security of going on a holiday with like my husband, because at one point I think I was going away on my own. One time I packed up my stuff and I said, I'm just so through with this. I'm just going to get on a plane and I'm just going to go on this holiday and just be on my own, you know, because I was fed up. You know, I was fed up of, you know, the waiting period at that point when I realised that I wanted someone. Singleness is for some people. Marriage is for some people. You know, marriage isn't for everybody. Some women and men like to be single, but there's people as well like me who like to be married and like to have someone around, you know. I was looking at everybody else's relationships and I'm thinking everything just looks really amplified, how much they love each other, and I'm just like, oh gosh, all right, you love each other, all right, great, you know. I was at this Christmas party and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, everyone's going home to a partner and I'm not. And you know, it really saddened my heart. I remember going home just like, I really want someone. And it was just so, you know, when I think back, you know, I just think, why did I do that? But you know, it was just an emotional time. You move from maybe I do want a husband to I want a husband. I made the move like most women would do, and I started looking for a husband. And I've got something coming out called Do Not Find a Husband, but that will soon be out and you'll be able to see what I mean by don't find a husband. And I started looking in my church and I was just like, nah, there's no one here that I really like. I couldn't imagine myself, you know. Have you ever like looked at someone and thought like, no way would I even go there, you know? And then you get all these people asking, oh, when are you gonna get married? You know, have you seen anyone that you know, that you like? Or people try to start setting you up. And then it really makes you frustrated. And do you know what I hated? Oh, it will be you soon, you know? And I'm thinking, no, like you keep your predictions to yourself. You get everybody say, everybody knows what's best for you. Everybody knows what you should be doing. And, you know, then you start to see all your friends again getting married and getting proposed to. And then, oh, soon it will be you. Soon it will be you. And it is the most frustrating thing ever. Especially when you know that, you know, you've got something in plan, but it's not going as quickly as you would like it to. That was the frustrating part for me. How did I know my husband was my husband? When you know, right? No, because you should know if that's the right person for you. I had my doubts. I really had my doubts. So, how did my husband find me? I was there all alone. Dated for 1 year, which was kind of like a series of like going out and, you know, a phone call. We used to talk on the phone quite a bit. Me and my husband dated. We dated out of dating, you know, and we went through a number of tests. Oh my goodness. If I had to say to myself, like, if we get through this, then we can get through anything, you know, because the tests that we went through were very, very mighty tests. The sooner you understand that dating is for marriage, then you will start to make progress, because that's when you get on your knees and you start to pray. And then God will reveal it to you. But when God reveals it to you, do not let him know, because the Bible speaks and says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Not she who finds a husband, he who finds a wife. Now, I'm saying that God showed me who my husband was, but I wasn't by any means going to tell him that I thought he was my husband. No way, I didn't. So I waited until he told me that he had heard from God that I was his wife, and then we could move on. During the season of dating, I had to stay prayerful. I had to stay prayerful because I wanted to make sure that, you know, I made the right decision. I've got 2 children, 2 girls at that, and, you know, having a man come into like my life, you know, and us living together, it had to be the right decision, not just for me and for him, but for our children as well. So it wasn't a thing where we were just like, oh my gosh, I love you, let's get married. We had to ensure that we were totally in the will of God before we made this move. And it was just little things and little God moments that were happening that was kind of showing me that, you know, this is the man that I want you to seek me about. You know, so I was praying and praying and praying, and then when he finally approached me and said, you know, like, I remember he called me and, you know, we went out for dinner, you know, like the usual, we go out for dinner, then we went on a couple of dates, we went ice skating, we went for ice cream, and things like that. And the good thing about it was my mum knew him before I did. So he'd be at my mum's house, we'd have dinner, we'd have discussions about God around the table. And then obviously we went to the same church and everything. So we started to build a real friendship, a real solid friendship, which made it good for us to go in and start dating after. And I looked at him, and because I made a list, okay, and I specifically said, I want a husband who can look after me, for one, mentally and, you know, physically, financially, in all ways. You know, I want a husband who I can look at and just feel love, you know, and I want a gentle husband, someone who's going to respect me, somebody who's not going to, you know, talk down to me or be rough. I had a set amount of qualities that I wanted from him that I had presented to God, and I saw all of that in him before anything, because I didn't want to get into a marriage and it wasn't right. Even though God was still telling me and, you know, and revealing things to me, I still wanted to be sure. So he was talking about marriage through the 2nd year, you know, and we were thinking about the aspect of it. Then we got to the 3rd year and I thought, right, okay, we've been speaking about marriage quite a bit. We've been talking about what we'd love to do, you know, what the plans would be after we got married. So we were speaking about all of these things, and I was ready to kind of put the gears in motion. What I found was, once I said I was ready, he wasn't. And this is what I think a lot of women have to go through, is when you both have to be totally ready. I think a lot of men think, oh, you know, women, they always want to get married, they want the ring, they want the dress, they want the wedding, you know, and it's true. We want the ring, we want the dress, we want the wedding, you know, but we also want a good marriage, you know, we want to be loved, we want to be looked after. You know, and if he can't do that for you, then you need to let him go, you know. let that man go. But yeah, so I was waiting and waiting and waiting. You know, he said, yeah, we're gonna get married, you know, in the May. I'm seeing the January come, the February come, the March come, May's coming up, nothing, you know. So I started to get very weary around this time, because I know what God's told me. He's told me what God's told me. So why are we not doing this, you know? And boy, those were the testing times, you know. But I got to a big milestone, and oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing, but I'm gonna share it with you. Don't tell anybody I did. It was my big birthday, and have any of you seen Napoli Ever After? Watch that movie and you will know exactly how I felt. So my mum arranged this, she told me that she arranged a birthday party for me, and I was like, oh, you know, I really don't want a surprise, Mum. I hate surprises. Don't do me a birthday party because I won't want to do it. But in my heart, I thought, you know what, that would actually be nice if I had all my friends and my family. And then I thought, okay, he's gonna propose, he's gonna come, and all my friends are gonna be there. It's a big, massive birthday, and you know, we've been speaking about marriage, and oh my gosh, is this the time? So Mum arranged this spa day, and she kept saying, make sure you've got something nice to wear in the evening, because we're going for dinner, and I've ordered you steak. And I'm like, yes, do you know what? It's gonna happen tonight. So I got my dress and I got my shoes, and I knew how I was doing my hair and everything, and I was just really excited. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, I need to make sure that my nails are done and everything. So that day, that Saturday, me and Mum was at the spa, and apparently she was going to have it at the spa place because they like do weddings there and everything. So that day, everyone was like, you know, I called my dad. He said, oh yeah, I've got to stay in because I've got, my heating's not working. Then I spoke to my brother, and my brother was like, yeah, I'm staying in tonight. I'm tired. And then I spoke to you know, my husband, and he was like, yeah, I've got my daughter, so I'm staying at home and we're just gonna chill out. And you know what, all I could think was, yeah, right, I'll see you tonight at the party, the engagement. And yeah, so we got ready, we got to the restaurant, me and Mum, and there was nobody in there. So I thought, oh my gosh, she's only gone and hired the whole restaurant for us to, you know, have this engagement, and someone's gonna pop out, everyone's gonna pop out somewhere. The restaurant was empty and no one came. No one was there. No one was there. No one was there.
No one was there.
Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe I told you that. But yeah, so I thought it was going to be a massive engagement party. It was nothing. Everybody was at home, fixing their heating, chilling out at home, and me and Mum, you know, sat in the restaurant and we had our dinner. It was lovely. I love my mum's company, but it wasn't what I expected for my birthday on a Saturday, my big birthday at that. Nothing, you know. So that was very, very difficult for me. So I was really, really angry with him, and I thought, I'm at the end of my tether now. I don't even care now. I just want to just finish this. My heart's broken too much. I can't take any more. You know, I'm waiting for this guy to propose. Nothing. I want a husband. I don't want to be single anymore. He could see that I was really, upset. I was really hurt. He literally just went and, I know he prayed about it and then came back a couple of months later and said, aha, I've got it. I want to get married. I'm ready. November, a month later, he had some big concerns about me, and he will share that when he speaks about his singleness and his version of singleness the male way. Once he had cleared up the concerns, he was ready. And we met up and we spoke about a date. We put a date in mind. We said, next year we'll do this, we'll put some money aside and blah, blah, blah. A week later, he said, is your heart completely with me? And I said, yeah, why? He received a prophecy. I respect every single prophecy that I get. I'm very respectful, and so is he. And what we had to do was totally break away from each other, not speak to each other. I went in my closet, he went in his closet, and we both prayed on the prophecy. In my heart, I knew that did not resonate with me. It didn't correspond to my feelings. Just to make sure that I wasn't just led on emotion, I had to seek God around this, and so did he. And we took the time apart to really seek God's face in this, because it was a very tumultuous time, knowing that I'm not for him, or hearing from God that I'm not for him, he's not for me, or whatever. It was very difficult. But this is why I am so dead set on, you need to have that relationship with God. You need to speak to him. You need to be specific with everything. And do you know what? After a while, I said, I'm done. We have to separate. We need to move on with our lives. And this is where it gets confusing, because God can tell you something, but then there's always some sort of counteraction. And if your relationship is not good with God, and you're not tight like that with God, then you're going to start getting confused and put off track. So you need to know what God is saying to you. And that the only way you're going to do that is by fasting and prayer, and reading the word. Otherwise, you're going to be like chaff in the wind, and you're going to be blown from here to there. What happened was, I'd had enough. And I think we'd gone past Christmas. And after Christmas, in the new year, I said, Jesus, Lord, I am standing here and I'm going to pray and give you a specific date. I did not tell him anything. I did not tell my husband anything about a date that I was giving him, because I gave that date to God. And I said, if this man does not propose to me by the 31st of March, I'm gone. I'm finished. I'm walking away, because I know, Lord, that even though you've been showing me signs that this is my husband, and I'm sure this is my husband, I can't make him marry me. And if that's the case, I need to walk away so that I'm not going to get hurt. And these are sometimes the things that you have to do. You have to walk away. And I was willing to walk away from that relationship on the 31st of March. Anyway, got to the 31st of March. I heard an audible voice. I heard an audible voice say, give him one more week.
Give him 1 more week.
Do you know what I said? No way. I said the 31st of March. Then I heard the voice again.
Give him 1 more week.
And I thought, I was fighting, I was struggling with the week. I said, no, I gave him the 31st of March, Lord. Why am I hearing 1 more week, 1 more week, 1 more week? On the 7th of April, he took me out for a meal. And me with my hard head said, aha, this is my opportunity to finish with you. So we met up, we went out to Burger and Lobster in Soho, and we were sat there, and you know, we were having such a laugh. It was like such an easy date. It was such an easy date. And I just looked at him and I thought, I just love you so much. Like, I just love you. And then a part of me was like, no you don't, no you don't. And I said, yeah, I do love you. And I just kind of turned my head, and sort of he got up and walked around, and I was talking to one of the waitresses. And as I looked at the waitress in front of me, I saw her mouth drop. And I said, what? And then when I turned around, there he was on one knee with this ring, asking me to marry him. And that was one of the most happiest days of my life. So 4 months later, we got married. And it was the best wedding. I'm gonna be biased, innit? I'm gonna say it's the best wedding I've ever attended because it was my own, but it was one of the best days that I could have ever had. And you know, my girls were so happy and my family was happy, and you know, it was just God made, you know, it was God given. And that's what happens when you seek God. The Bible says that we must be specific in prayer, you know, and that we must be humble. When we pray, we must be humble. You know, and trust me, I was humble, but there were some warfare prayers I was putting down in my front room, in my kitchen. I'm praying, and I'm just, you know, I'm just really, you know, radical, you know, that God would just answer a prayer, that he would help me, you know, like attend to my need. My advice is, do not find a husband. Allow him to find you, and stay prayerful at all times. Stay prayerful, because that's the only way you're going to get yourself a God-given husband. Listen to what he says. Listen to the voice of God. It may not always be audible, but it will be in some shape or form. And when you know, you know. And also be specific in prayer. Be specific and believe that what you ask for in his name, he will do. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And remember that singleness may be your portion, but you need to be happy with it. Marriage could be your portion. Marriage isn't for everybody. You know, God may want you to stay single, but it's how you react in that time. God knows. He grants us the desires of our heart. And some of us always say we want to be married, but do we really want to be married? Do you like your own space? Are you quite selfish at times? I mean, I'm not saying that that's, you know, a bad trait, because I love my own space and it's good to have your own space, but in marriage comes compromise. So you've got to be ready to compromise in marriage. But just stay encouraged. God has someone for you if you really want it.